Okay, here we go on our carburetor assembly. So I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see here, but we'll see what we can do. So this here is all our new parts right here. Got all our springs and camera don't work for shit on this stand. There it is. So we got our springs all right here. Got a spring seat, got our gaskets, got our throttle shaft and disc, new needle and seat, the new bigger venturi. And then we have the new gaskets and stuff over here, and a new float. So that's all our new parts. Our used parts are all over here, which is all the other stuff. Oh, we're also going to need a new needle, which I didn't put out here yet. Forgot to. So this is all the stuff here that's left over. And we got the float bowl and all that stuff all cleaned up also. Threads look so-so. So I know the throttle lever is basically no good, but we'll let the customer deal with that later. So anyway, so much for all that. Time to start working here. So I'll put this over here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if you can blow it up too much. Won't be able to see anything. So that looks like it might work. Alright, so it doesn't really matter where you start. You got to start someplace. So for now, I think I'll just start by putting all the plugs in. So these here are the little plugs, gallery plugs. So I put the nicest one out here where you can see it. These don't require any sealer on, they're tapered pipe plug. So I'm just going to screw them in the hole. Obviously I've already blown all these passages out several times already. Okay, that one is in. Okay, you got two over here. Now there's a jet and a plug. These jets are way too big to use these days on the crappy gas we got. So I'm not going to use the jet. I'm just going to put two plugs in there and plug it up. Now on this application here, the hole down here where this adjustment screw goes, this one here has the big hole in it. So that means you have a coarse adjustment, so when you undo the screw it opens up a lot of area. So in this application here you do not have to have a jet inside the carburetor. If you had the fine tip needle that looks like this low speed needle for a main needle, then you're going to have to put a little bit of a hole in the jet over here. So when you need to do that, you can take the same jet, solder the hole up, and put like about a 30-35 thou hole through it. That's close enough. And then you can take the rest up with your needle as you need it. This one being a large orifice, I can just use a nothing bowl. So not all carburetors have jets in them, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to take the next best screw I can use here, plug. I'm going to stick that down here through the manifold plug, gallery plug, which is for your low speed circuit. It's hard to get to, so you want to make sure you run a good one over here. Now you have to take a screwdriver, modify it, cut it down. See, that's flat, normal width. This one here has been radiused over, rounded and narrowed, so that way it'll fit down inside of the hole in here to tighten it up. If you don't have that, it doesn't work. Okay, that one's tight. Okay, so now we just got the other two plugs which go down here. Side of the body here. This is inside where the float bowl area is. Standard screwdriver for this. Tight. Okay, so excuse me. So we got all the gallery plugs in here now. That's always a good place to start. Okay. Now this here is our low speed circuit plug. Goes over here inside the body. You want to make sure all the stuff is opened up over here, which you sure already done when you're working on it, but make sure everything is open and clean. Now these take no gaskets or sealers, you just tighten them up. Okay, so that's done on that part. So easy about this point is where I go ahead and put the throttle shaft in, because that's the most important thing, is to get that working. So you want to make sure that works nice and freely. Now this throttle disc here has no cutaways on the side of it. So you just take where the number is right here, hold out with your thumb and forefinger, and you take the shaft. You can see that's the back side where there's no screw head goes. This is where the screw goes. So you turn that straight up like that, and that's when you put the disc in it. And you kind of rotate it, and you put the two screws where they belong. Of course, this one's screwing with me, as usual. So you let gravity help you by turning it this other way. Damn, it really is screwing with me. Okay, you kind of wiggle around and hit it with your finger, do not force it. So now we got all the way in there. You got the 13 up the top and you got your screw heads on top. So when this thing opens up like that, your screws are where you can get to it. Of course I had to show you that so now it's out. Now you want to make sure you keep this down against the body and make sure your throttle disc goes all the way down, because it does move. See how it moves? So push that all the way up against the shoulder. And you push this down all the way with your finger, and that will center up the disc as best you can in the bore. And when you look through that up to the light, hopefully you don't see a lot of light through it. You are going to see some, but you try to keep it as low as you can. Okay, then we take our screws here. Make sure you have a lock washer on them. These are round head screws, so they flow a little more air than a Philister head style, which is usually what Harley used. You can be careful in the lock size, because the throttle shafts aren't cut very big. So I'm putting a little bit of under 1/4 inch Loctite, which is purple. This is under 1/4 inch of screw. So go ahead and keep your finger on that. Keep everything up where it belongs. So you're pushing up with the shaft here with this finger and pushing down with this finger, keeping everything centered up. And lightly tighten that one down. And we grab another one. Sometimes these round head screws are too big to fit in the throttle disc slot, so when that happens you got two choices. Widen the slot or cut the screw, or use a different screw. I guess that's 3 choices. Whatever you do not leave the screw out, you do need it. Okay. Take a look at it, make sure it looks like everything looks like it's okay. Here where the camera's at. Okay, now you do push it back. It's a little snug right now. Put a little bit of torque on the screws. And you torque them a little bit more. Get them good and tight. Okay, now right now our disc is really hard to turn right there, and it gets real free over here. See, it gets tight right there. So the throttle looks bitching going backwards, but that's not how we need it to work. So now we got to figure out which way we got to hit on this thing to get to square itself up. So you need to use a little bit of a drift to push on, hit that with. You can use a wood dowel or a plastic tube or something like that. or an aluminum punch, or you can use the old throttle shaft you're not using. You can use them for a punch too. So what we're going to do, we have to lightly hit on this until we figure out where the high spot is, and lightly get it where it works. So I'm going to give me a punch. Alright, I got two punches. I got a big brass one, and I got a nice aluminum rod. I like the brass one because it's got mass to it. Okay, so the first thing I do is figure out what the problem is. So usually what I do is I close the throttle valve and just lightly hit it, like that. I'm just using the weight of the punch, and see what happens. Did it get worse or better? It did not get any better. Might have got worse. So in that case, we flip it around and hit it from the other side. Okay, that got better. And of course the phone rings. Let me get the phone.